There we go.
Ah, cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Oh, I'm just stoked that you want to do the interview. It's fantastic. So I'm happy.
I'm very happy as well. I was very thankful to be able to hear about this band. I'm surprised I'm just learning about it as of last week because I love everything that the whole band has been a part of in the past. I'm surprised that I'm just learning about Abyssic now, but I'm so happy to have discovered you guys now because now I have 3 albums to be able to check out, including the brand new album, which has been out for a week now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big problem with being in a doom band. We're so underground. So and I'm happy to hear that you like it because when you've been doing it for years and years and you tend to feel like people doesn't appreciate what you're doing because we don't have a big fan base right now. But it seems like the last album has reached out to more people than the 2 previous. So it's interesting. It's interesting times right now.
It truly is. But again, with that, I mean, I'm very glad to hear that this album is reaching more of an audience. I mean, myself included. Many people that I know when I was talking about this band that they were really looking forward to this album and they've been enjoying it as much as I have. And I having the chance to be able to check out the whole discography now, it's like I really feel like the band is in peak form right now. I love everything from the orchestration to the emotion behind it. I mean, there's a lot of pain and sorrow that's going on, but there's so much diverse of layers going on. It just captures so many things that I love into one package, and I love that.
All I can say is wow and thanks, because this just proves that, I mean, you've really been listening to our music, and I can understand that some people think it's too hard to listen to like a 20-minute song. But again, what you're saying is totally spot on, because for instance, when I write the lyrics, I try to find different emotions so people can, experience like different things while listening to the songs. And it's important for us in the band that if we don't want our songs to be too like transparent, if you know what I mean. So when people listen to it, it's like, yeah, I love you, baby. Ooh, okay, fine, but that's not Abyssic. You really need to put some effort into it to understand our music, and that is something I can hear obviously and totally you have done. So yes, we need listeners like you.
Well, I'm very happy to prove that there are listeners like myself out there, and yeah, it's like for some people it is a massive undertaking listening to songs that long, but I'm very much a progressive fan. I'm very much a doom fan. I love hearing songs that can be like 18 minutes plus, 20 minutes plus, an hour and a half long. As long as it can capture my interest the whole time and just have those great experiences, peaks and valleys, being able to have motifs that really bring you back into the fold. I mean, there's so many things about Abyssic that I can truly appreciate that you can gravitate towards. I mean, again, it's just like whether you're hitting more black metal territories, doom metal territories, orchestral. I mean, there's so much that upon repeat listens that you can explore with it.
That's again, I'm just grateful that you're saying that, because it's like when I can, for instance, not to compare us with such a genius, but when you're watching Lord of the Rings, you can keep on watching the movies time and time and time again, because there's so many layers there too. There's so many things you can discover, and again, that's what we want to do with our music. So when we play live, for instance, we have lots of incense, we have smoke, we drink wine from big bottles, and we try to make it just not only the listening experience, it should also be like a theater. So we're with big cloaks and makeup, and you got the candles. So it's important for us to make it a package. Because when you're listening to our music on a CD, LP, or whatever you prefer, we tend to joke and say, okay, you need to open a good bottle of wine or whatever, makes you happy. And while you're listening, you can drink the wine and you can experience our music through, the wine, the music, the everything. Does that make sense at all? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I totally understand it, because when I listen to, especially with this album, like I can see it in my mind. Like I can picture all of this ethereal atmosphere that's going on, and you want to be able to appreciate it. And the fact that you do go to such lengths in the live setting to be able to not just replicate the music, but to make it a full-on dark experience and really set the tone for the music that you're about to hear, shows how much passion that you have behind the music.
exactly. So and that again, appreciate that you saying that, because a lot of people have come to us after a show and like says, yeah, you really managed to express the music live because you did all these things. And I'm playing on a massive upright bass, and I'm doing the bow. I'm not doing the pizzicato with the fingers, so I'm doing the bow. So that makes it all very theatrical. So that's very important to us. So yeah, I mean, it's a package.
So thinking about that, I mean, obviously with the album being released as of last week, how do you feel about the album when you look back at it now?
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster, because as with everything, the first album was kind of an experiment. The second album was kind of, trying to find the right path. We wanted to do something on that album real epic. And on the last album, we were like, okay, let's try just to make it more guitar based. And what I find fascinating is the fact that we were thinking that we did a more guitar based album, but everybody that reviews the album and gives us feedback, they say, the orchestra is so much more listenable, or you can hear so much more of the orchestra, and so you sound more epic now than you did on the previous albums. And we're like, yeah, maybe we do, but then again, we plan to have more guitar based, but maybe that also, that element helped the music to become more listenable. And then again, people could you know how to put it, not to sound it made it more available for people to listen to. And then again, people really sits down and listens and says, okay, this sounds more epic than the previous album, because I get this kind of an emotion when I listen to it, not that, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, it's a good question. It was a hard process in making the album also, because when I write the lyrics, for instance, I always want to have a theme to write about. And the two previous albums I wrote about, we have kind of, or I have kind of a fictional person that I'm writing about. So the two first albums, the first album was about, a priest who became corrupted and ended up being, possessed by whatever. And the second album was a continuous from that album, because then he had a baby, and that baby became, the big thing on the front of the album. And then I thought, okay, now we done that kind of a theme. What to do now? And it ended up just me writing about the gruesome time being that when we're on this, cold rock in the middle of the universe, I'm thinking that we need to spend, the time in the best possible way as we can. And if we choose to behave, if you know what I mean, not hurting people, just you can't avoid hurting people. You will always hurt somebody, yeah, but not on purpose. So if we spend time here in the best possible way, I don't care if you're Christian, devil worshipper, or whatever religion, whatever makes you a cup of tea, I don't care, because that's not what I'm about. but just make it the best on this planet as you can, because we live every day and we die only once, in my opinion. And no disrespect to people who believe anything else. That's just my opinion. So that's what I'm writing about in the lyrics. It's like, okay, here we are. We're on this. The metaphor is, as we sail on a ship on the ocean, we get hit by a winter storm, and the metaphor would be like the winter storm is, you know, things that happens in your life that can be tragic or whatever. It might be something good also. And then it's important to just be aware that, okay, make your make your ship as safe as possible. Steer towards the, you know, the storm. Don't be afraid, as long as your ship is you know, a good ship, and the captain, which would be you, is a strong, secure captain. You will always end up finding shore, and you will always end up finding your, you know, wherever your destination is. Yeah, okay, that was a long, you know, but yeah.
Oh, I totally understand what you're talking about with that. And, you know, when you were explaining that, I started thinking about that more with the album, and it does make so much sense. And it does make so much sense in the grand scheme of things when it comes to life as well, too. I mean, you got to make sure that you're okay physically and mentally. You got to make sure that you're good to the people around you and what you leave behind. And, you know, even if you do have a religion where you do live more than once, you only get to live this life once, and
Exactly.
you have to make the most of it that you can, and try to live the life that that is going to be the best for you and not hurt others. And when you are braving that storm in the ship, like you're talking about, you want to be able to have it be the safest boat that you possibly can, with a captain that knows how to weather through the storm. And when you do that, you will be able to find land.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. My English isn't that good, so I'm having a hard time to explain, you know, but exactly, that's what I mean. So
I think that's why another reason why I find myself finding myself so engrossed with this album is, and not only musically, because I love everything musically that's going on. I love the production of it. I love the fact that if I'm looking for the orchestral moments, that I'm able to listen to that. If I'm looking for the band moments, I'm looking for that. But just like you were talking about with the lyrical content, because, you know, especially when it comes to something like doom metal, which if you just listen to the music by itself without even listening to the lyrics, there's so much dark emotion that can go into it. But when you really pay attention to the lyrical content, and when you do hit something like mental health, when you talk about personal struggles, when you do talk about all these things, it can be very relatable. And I know it is for me, someone who deals with mental health struggles. And when I listen to these lyrics, it's very relatable to me, whether it is something I feel like I can relate to perfectly, or if it's something on the grand scheme of things. You know, it's just like there's so many things I can reach upon and be able to adapt while listening to. And I appreciate that you put so much effort into the lyrics when it comes into that.
thanks, man. And again, I in the natural world, to put it like that, because being an artist, you're not living in a natural world, you're living in some twilight zone, you know. And I'm not going to talk too much about myself when it comes to that, but I too have struggled a lot with, you know, the issues you just mentioned. And to me, to be able to write it in music, write it in lyrics, and just maybe some people out there, as you said, could read my lyrics and say, wow, thanks. That is, you know, more often I would be more grateful than, you know, winning the lottery, if you know what I mean, because it means so much to me that people can relate and understand that you're not alone, and more people are struggling with mental health than we can imagine. But for instance, here in Norway, we have a saying that if drinking can't fix it, you can't fix it, if you know what I mean. And it's like, because we're Norwegians are known for not talking about emotions. We're so Vikings, whatever bullshit, excuse my English. But I think that putting that on the agenda so more people could understand that, yes, you're not alone. You aren't alone. There are several people that struggles with the same thing. Well, maybe we could save somebody then. I mean, here in Norway, we have a very, very high suicide rate amongst young men, and we don't know why. And I was just like, we don't know why. Maybe it's because nobody talks about their inner, emotions, feelings, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, this is just my way of expressing, as I said, yeah, you're not alone. Just as you said, the captain, if your captain is a safe captain, he will guide you. And if that captain being a god, a deity, an entity, I don't care. That's not the important thing. The important thing is that you make it through the storm. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And again, that's why I gravitate so much, especially as of late to doom metal, especially to those that like whether they're using a metaphor or they're being straight up about it when talking about mental health or depression or the dark side of life, because it can be a very cathartic thing. And just like you talked about with a high suicide rate in young males in Norway, it's just like when you don't talk about your problems, you are going to end up feeling alone. But even if you feel like you have no one that you can talk to, when there's music out there, just in one facet of life, if there's some kind of music out there that can be very cathartic for you, that hits the lyrical themes that you want to be able to express, but you feel like you can't, I mean, that can be something that really helps you out, because just like anything to help you be more open and express who you are and just be able to help manage that ship is just, it's so important. And I do find that so important in this. I mean, just like, because there is such darkness in the world, but if you can find someone else that matches that darkness, it can bring some light into the world.
Absolutely spot on. And to me, music has been that, way, the best way of just not surviving, because that's a very brutal way of saying it, because but music have always helped me when I have felt down, or I've thought about things that when you're at a stage in life when you're thinking, what's the point? And then some song just hits you and you're like, yeah, hey, yep, nope, I'm still here and I'm gonna stay. Because like, I'm not going to talk about a lot about other bands now, but anyway, like old Manowar songs. Manowar used to be a great band in my opinion. I used to be a big fan. I'm still a fan, but anyways, they had a song called the chorus was "Stand and fight, say what you feel." That song.
Oh yeah.
That has probably saved me a lot of times when I was, down, being young, drinking, being out doing drugs, whatever. That song has probably when you're really feeling low and I put on that song. Oh yeah, don't forget, you're worth something. You got power inside. Keep on fighting, man. So music is just, and what I love about music is the fact that it's if like, I'm Norwegian. You're from United States. So I speak English like my second language. So speaking different languages all over the world makes us separated, divided. But music is a universe language, so everybody understands it. And that's what I love about music. I don't need to be able to speak, Arabic or Finnish or Swedish or whatever, because I can just put on music and they will go like, hey, yeah, I can relate to you. You're a good person. I like your music. I like this, So yeah.
Yeah, and it's so important too, and I love that you mentioned that with Man of War too, because it's just like it can be in so many different styles. I mean, it doesn't just have to be doom metal and be for cathartic reasons. It can be like the heavy metal, power metal, where it's like you stand up and fight. It can have that great heroic feeling behind it, where you pull yourself up and you continue to fight. I mean, it can be done in so many different styles of music, almost every style of music. I mean, you can find something that you can gravitate towards and be able to find part of yourself along with that. And when you're able to find other people that you're able to appreciate music with, you're able to share music with, you can share your own music with them. Music is that great universal language, and you don't always have to understand the lyrics or the metaphors or anything that goes along with it to be able to appreciate it with someone else.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's why I love to. The sad part right now is because we had COVID, we had all those, and now we got war in Europe because of things going on. So touring in Europe is quite expensive and quite hard to do, and I really miss it, because that's when I really feel like I get to meet just humanity, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's not me being this big musician, oh, got lots of fans, oh, look at me. It's more like we're just being humans, meeting, talking, drinking. Okay, just so happens to be that I'm a musician, I will entertain you first, and then we can go out and drink and have fun afterwards. I mean, that is what I love about being a musician: meeting new people, new cultures, new. Just I love humanity, and I hope more people can just realize that we, under the stars, under the heavens, it just so happens to be we're different, but we're still the same. We're just humans. So I'm sorry, we got very philosophical right now, but that's okay.
Well, that's actually what I love. I mean, I love being able to have like that stream of consciousness kind of conversation, because it's just like we're showing like our real feelings right now about like the state of the world right now, and how we wish we could be closer. And it's just like there are so many things that are tearing us apart in the world. I mean, living over here in the United States, there's so many things politically that are driving all of us apart. Over in Europe, obviously war going on that is driving so many people apart. And there's so many things that do tie us together, that bind us together, and we do let our differences control us, and we feel like people have to be so are outsiders, that we can't relate to them, or whatever the case is, for whatever reasons, or at least that's what we're being told is the difference, rather than like finding those things that do bring us together, like music, like that could bring us together and be able to share humanity together, share relationships with, share friendships with. I wish the world could work like that. Sadly, the world is proving that it doesn't work like that, but there's still a good amount of people that do realize the good that are in humanity, and I'm glad that you're one of them.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, obviously you are too. So again, that is what makes this a good thing, because now we're just sharing experiences. We're just being two, as you said, two human people that's just talking, and it's not like I have to have a certain opinion, or you have to have a certain opinion, or we have to do. It's like this is just a conversation, and I love it. I mean, a lot of other, call it, interviews I've done, they're very like, they ask very, very, very some narrow questions, and I always wanted to do like we're doing, because I'm very philosophical. So when they ask it, what were you thinking about album, and start talking like I did, they were like, oh, okay, next question, because I think it becomes too, what's the word, too far out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some people. So, but no, anyways, so everything I do within music, as we talked about, is the cover needs to reflect what the music and the lyrics are reflecting. So when we had the cover, I started thinking about what do I want to do when it comes to the album cover, I contacted the painter that we have used on all the albums, and we started talking. And okay, I don't know. I'm not. I don't like to tell people what I'm going to tell you now because a lot of people hate that kind of person. But I'm a Freemason, okay, and so is the painter. So we have a few ideas on how to make the world a better place and stuff like that. So that being said, I'm not religious or anything, but anyways, we started to talk about how can we put esoteric messages within the album cover, and obviously we have some ideas. So when we started to paint, I told him exactly, I want this to reflect time on Earth, how to spend it, how to become a better person, and all of this. And he was like, okay, give me a week. And he sent the first draft, and I was like, whoa, we're almost there. And then we had, sparred back and forth for another week, and then there was the album cover. Because as I said again, it's so important for everything to reflect. It can't be like when you buy to me, if I buy an album cover, it's like it says, for instance, whatever the title on the cover is, and this, let's say it says Doom Forever, and the album cover is like a pink heart. That would, to me, go like, what? Why? Nothing wrong with a pink heart, but doomed forever. Why? Oh, you mean love is doomed forever? Maybe. Or yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh yeah.
so.
Oh, for sure. Before I continue that point, I just want to say the first part, not having to go too long into it, but when you mentioned the Freemason, I actually lived 2 streets away from a Freemason building in
Right.
my hometown, and I've had family members that are a part of the Freemason society,
Okay.
so I completely understand where you're coming from on there. But yeah, getting back into the artwork, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you're showing the artwork, especially when you go to a record store or even just looking at the album cover online, you want it to be a fair representation of what the kind of music that you're going to be experiencing. So when you can match the tone on the album cover, it can show what the album is going to be about. And I remember so many albums and bands I've discovered just from the album cover alone, just matching the tone of it. And when you can, and this is definitely one of them as well, when you see all the dark colors that goes along with it, and it feels so abstract. And that's what the album feels like to me. I mean, very orchestrated, very methodical, but it does kind of have like that dark, abstract, lost kind of feeling, and I feel like it nailed it perfectly.
Thanks, man. Again, so, and I remember being young. Of course, I remember being young, but I mean, I remember when I was young, I was, strolling to lots of records. Back in old day, we had the vinyls. I was like, and I find a record. Oh, that album cover looked cool, and I went over and listened to. Yeah, it matched. Yeah, cool. And I mean, I discovered the band Overkill just by the cover.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it was Years of Decay back in '88. They had, this very cool dark cover. I was like, whoa, okay, listen to it. Yes, I loved it. So I've been a fan of Overkill ever since, because I discovered it through an album cover, and that is also the problem. The problem, because nowadays very few people get to see the album cover first. They just, everything's on Spotify, so everybody goes like, oh, okay, that's okay, I'll listen to it. Either they like it or they don't. To me, I think it's sad that they don't get the whole package. But again, what can we do? I mean, technology. So
True. But again, even with that, I appreciate the fact that you do care so much about that still, even with the changing of the world and the way that it is right now, that you still are reaching out for what you want in this band, the artwork that you are looking for, and the people who still care about the artwork. You still want them to be able to look at it and appreciate all that went into it. And of course, the entire packaging that goes along with it. The fact that you still care about that says a lot.
Yeah. And thanks. That's the thing, because as I said in the beginning of this conversation, that if things become too transparent, it gets boring to me. I mean, my wife even is so deep that I still can't figure her out, but nobody can figure out women. But anyway, I'm joking. It's just a joke. Anyways, my point is that if I were to date somebody that I had no depths, no hidden thoughts, or I can totally appreciate people wanting to have a partner like that, but I couldn't, because I'm very, I need to be able be able to work on things, to find lack of words, I'm sorry. Yeah, I hope the listeners understand what I mean, but you need something. If you wake up every day and you eat the same chocolate, you will get bored. That's what I mean. So you need to find something new in your partner every day, and she's like that. I find something new in her every day, and that's fascinating. It's been 22 years and still, so I'm with that in everything in life.
Oh, I mean, that's fantastic to hear. And that is so great. And I'm very much like that as well too. I mean, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a band I'm in, whether it's a friendship, it's just like being able to have like deep conversations, being able to, even just in a musical aspect, like being able to talk about different bands, different genres, lyrical concepts, arrangements. I mean, there's so many different things that you can learn about. And when you can go like back and forth, and you're able to keep learning from the other person that you're talking to, and being able to have these conversations with or work with, and you're constantly able to keep learning about them, you keep learning about yourself, you're learning about new ideas that you haven't experienced before. It helps makes life feel more fulfilling, because you're learning so much more.
Absolutely. Again, you just explained what I tried to say, so I'm grateful. Yeah, basically that's what I'm trying to say. So it just makes life so much more fulfilling. So and we're lucky. I mean, here you are being in a conversation with somebody in Norway you never met before, but still I feel I relate to you already, because we have so much in common, when it comes to music and philosophical thoughts and everything. And that's just great, and that makes it so much more exciting than, as I said, that when you meet people that they are just interested in, okay, you're a musician, you have done this, that's it. Yeah, but I'm so much more than just a musician.
Yes, you're so much more than just being asked, like, what is how did you learn how to pick up an instrument? What are your influences? It's just like when I do that, like it could be so easy to do that, but for me personally, I love digging deeper into conversation. Like obviously there's parts I want to be able to hit. I want to be able to promote this amazing new album, which is easily one of my favorite albums of the year, without question. But
Wow.
just like I want to be able to learn more about you as well too. I mean, you have such an amazing back catalog, and when you've talked going back and forth with me, it's like I've learned so much about your personality and how you approach life and everything about that. And I love asking more about that, because I find that so intriguing. I find that so much more interesting to listen to than just having you say something, then ask something that's completely unrelated, just because I have this list of questions in front of me that I don't know how to respond to, because I've never listened to your music. I just got asked to do this and all that. That's not the kind of person I am. I love being able to go back and forth like this.
That's so cool. And I must admit I got a bit starstruck, because I saw you have done, talked to so many big stars, and I was like, whoa, what am I going to say? Maybe he's, thinks I'm a big nobody from Norway. We never know. I mean,
Not at all. Like I mentioned before with like Suspiria, like, I discovered Attitude in high school, and that was a life-changing album for me. And
wow.
the fact that I'm talking to someone who made a life-changing album for me in my formative years, being able to talk about a band that I'm infatuated with right now, that I'm just constantly going back and listening to and discovering more about, and again, making one of my favorite albums of the year, and knowing that you've been a part of a band that meant so much to me, but also so many other bands that you've either guested upon or were a part of at one part in time, or whatever could happen in the future. The feeling's mutual. Like, I'm starstruck being able to talk to you, and I feel the same way that you do right now, where I feel like, well, what am I going to say to you when you've been a part of so many different bands, and you've got to work with so many great musicians.
Again, I'm just happy we're just two human beings here.
No, absolutely.
Makes
And
it so much easier.
and I'd love that too. And unfortunately, I see that Zoom's about to cut me off in about 2 minutes now.
Yep.
It's got a 40-minute limit, but I absolutely love this. I love being able to, hit on the album, which of course is out now. I highly recommend everyone to be able to check it out. If anything of emotional, orchestral, black and doom metal, or anything like that sounds appealing to you, I highly recommend checking out Abyssic and checking out the previous albums as well too. And learning so much more about your personality and the way that you approach life, it just really put a smile on my face, knowing that there's still people like that out there despite all the negativity in the world. And I've had such an amazing time being able to talk to you, going back and forth like this. This really meant a lot to me, and I thank you so much for taking the time.
And I'm just so grateful for letting me being on your show. I mean, wow. What can I say, man? I'm just wow. This is fantastic. Thank you for being so interesting to talk to, and we had such a great conversation. That's yeah. I mean, I'm lost for words right now.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm so very thankful for our mutual friend being able to connect us, and being able to check out the album and making this interview happen. And I can't wait to show this off. I can't wait to be able to talk about this album again when I do my end of the year list, when I get that rolling in just a few short weeks now. It's going to be very high up, I can tell you that already. And it's been so great to talk to you. I would love to be able to talk to you again, whether we get to do something like this for the next recording you get to be on, or being able to talk through email or Instagram, or however else. I mean, this was fantastic. I'd love to be able to keep this up.
Thanks, man. Me too. So just we'll keep in touch. No problem, man.